right, I think I am live. Just a minute early. Just seeing if I can get myself live over on my tablet so that I can see if anyone is here. There we go. Okay, I am live and I am looking fairly good there. Okay. Well, happy Sunday, everyone. Sunday before Thanksgiving. Hopefully everyone is having a wonderful weekend and enjoying their day. I have not been live or created a video for a little while. I did start, you may have noticed, the community tab in YouTube. It doesn't quite work the way I had hoped it would, but I'm hoping that they expand on the community tab and make it much more robust as they build out that functionality. So we'll see what happens, but I have been posting on the community tab and trying to engage the community a little bit more, even though I haven't had a chance to really do any videos. It's been kind of a hectic couple of months, honestly, between work and a bunch of other things going on. So I haven't had a chance to really create. I have been prepping a lot for my annual Christmas card buffet. I showed you some of those things back in October, I think, is when I showed them some of the cards that I had created for our retreat, our Connected Hearts retreat that we went to in St. Louis. This was one of the cards that I made for that retreat as a swap. But I also used it as part of my card buffet that I held last weekend, and I have another one coming up in 2 weeks. So I had that card. I think I also showed you this card, which is again a card. All my sequins are not sticking. I may have to open this up and get those fixed. But then another card that I had created with the holiday. Is this Christmas Traditions paper? Sorry, let me see if I can find the name of this. Traditions of Christmas paper. So I had created that card. And then this was a card that I received as part of the buffet. And again, really simple, using that same paper and the cherry cobbler. These are die cut out and then embossed on this tag. So those were some of the cards. Only one of these I used for my buffet. A couple of the other cards that I created for my buffet was this Merry Christmas card, and this is just using old Close to My Heart glitter paper that I had, and then the star is also out of glitter paper, but you could pretty much, any glitter paper that you have would work with this. And I used the die set from last year called Decorative Trees. So I used this die here, I don't think you can see it, but this die here to cut that out, and I thought that worked perfectly. And then I used the Greetings for You Mix and Match for the sentiment. And so this was a really simple, using crumb cake. This was an idea that I did get off of the internet. I think this was a Facebook page that popped up. I do not know who created it. There wasn't a, no one watermarked it. So I don't know who created their version, but again, they use slightly different things, but same idea. So this was one of the simple cards that I made for people who maybe weren't stampers or didn't have as much comfort with that, because literally these were pre-cut pieces of paper. This card I really loved. This was from a demonstrator in France. Again, she did not watermark her picture on our demonstrator planning place, which is where we get lots of artwork shares. And unfortunately, when I took this screenshot of it, it didn't have her watermark on it. So I don't know exactly who did it, other than I know that she is in France because the wording that she used on it was a French version of Merry Christmas. Anyway, so this one I used the new swirl die designs, or actually I use the stamp set, not the dies. Let me see where my stamp set is. If you could see my desk right now, you would see that it is a complete disaster. There it is. So the swirl dies design, the circle, is what I used to create this using, and this one got a little water damage on it. I see real red. This is old olive, and this is cherry cobbler. And then what is it? Snowflakes piece was part of the reindeer set from last year. Reindeer Fun. So I use the snowflakes from Reindeer Fun for that, and then the Merry Christmas is also from this, and I use Secret C for the stamp of the wording and for the little frame that's around this. These bows are, this was part of also Reindeer Fun, if I remember correctly. Yes. So those bows were from the Reindeer Fun stamp set as well. So I reused some things that I already had and didn't buy anything else, but there are plenty of things. I know that a lot of people are using the bows from the gingerbread, which is new out this season. I didn't happen to buy the gingerbread die set, so I just went through my collection and created that card. And then the last card was created by B. Catherine. And she has a whole slew of these that she had posted on the demonstrator planning place. And I just loved the idea of this. Now, she used a different die set than I used. She used the Christmas, let's see, let me pull that out here. She used the individual die. I don't know if I can find it real fast here, but it was an individual die that was just a Christmas ball. And it wasn't a ball, it was more stylized than the ball. And of course now I won't probably be able to find it really quick in here, but let me just flip through real fast. Sorry, I was not as prepared as I thought I was for this live. I'm just trying to see if I can find it. Maybe it was an online exclusive. I bet it was an online exclusive because I'm not seeing it here in the catalog. So it is an online exclusive that was just a large ornament that had a scooped neck, had a longer neck. It wasn't just a circle. Anyway, what she did is this is vellum. Here you can kind of, hopefully you can kind of see, this is vellum, and what I did is I stamped it with Versamark, or she did, but I also followed her, what she had done, stamped it in Versamark, and then used white embossing powder to heat emboss it. And then on the back side, what I did is I took my alcohol pens and I colored, and hopefully you can kind of see it, I colored in on the back side all of the flowers. And so in this case it was, again, I picked the sort of, I don't know what color this is. This is Peacock, I think, from Old Close to My Heart. But again, I tried to match the colors. And then I embossed the bauble top in white as well. And then I did the this particular embossing folder. I don't know what this one was called now that I am looking at it, because I probably hadn't used it a lot. Let me just see if I can find it real fast. Probably can't. But it was an embossing folder that we had last year, I believe. Anyway, it has a star in the middle, like it's a starburst kind of embossing folder. And I probably won't be able to find it really quickly here. As I look through my stacks of things. So if I can find it, I'll put it down below, but it's not one that's available, I don't think, anymore. I'd have to double check. And then I just used some gems that I had that were iridescent to go along with it. And again, this die cut is from the Spotlight on Nature, which is unfortunately a retired die set. This is the Deckled Circles, also retired. And then the Season's Greetings, I'm not sure which set I got that from, but Season's Greetings was from another stamp set that I had. So this card I loved, and I thought was a great sort of advanced card for my my people that were coming to my card workshop or my card buffet. So I've been working to get ready for these card buffets, which is again whole reason why you haven't seen me very much in the last few weeks. But what I did want to hop on here is go ahead and try to put together a really simple, quick card that you could do with very little supplies and with using stamps that you possibly already have in your stash, because we all have stamps that we could use. You don't have to necessarily always buy the newest thing. So one of the projects I was working on was an ornament, and this ornament I ended up having a bunch of circles left over from making the ornament piece that I want. And these are from Memory and More cards from last year, as well as some Picture My Life cards from Stampin' Up. From Close to My Heart. So these were all these leftover circles that I had that were part of making up this ornament design that I had made up for my card buffet. And so I had all these circles left over, and I was trying to figure out, okay, what can I do with all of these extra pieces? So I saw another card that came up from Simple DIY Ideas, and they took a bunch of circles and essentially created this really simple card. So it can be done with any circle. You don't need to have anything fancy. I pulled out a couple of stamp sets to do a couple of things, and then I also again pulled out the Greetings for You Mix and Match, because this has all of those holiday greetings, makes it really simple and fast to use. You could also use, if you have these left over from last year, there are a few Christmas sayings in the Greetings for All Mix and Match ephemera. So there's Merry Christmas here as well, Happy Christmas. So there's a couple of things in there if you didn't want to necessarily go with the gold versions. All right, so the other thing that I did is I did die cut out a few circles that were part of the Stylish Shapes. And I took the smallest circle and I just die cut out 6 of those. And with these, what I thought I would do is take the stamp set and add a little bit more variety with these to stamp in these circles. So I have 2 different styles. I've got sort of this more wintry theme style, and then I've got this more traditional Christmas color style. I'm sorry, my dog is barking and I'm not sure why. So anyway, sorry, I was just seeing if I had a comment there. And feel free to, put in comments if you have any questions about what I'm doing. But like I said, these are super simple cards that you could easily make up with any sort of scraps that you have in your stash. And again, the stamping that I'm doing is not necessary per se. You don't have to do it, but I think it will add a nice touch to this. Again, I'm using a combination of Close to My Heart stuff and Stamping Up. So I'm trying to be good about using my stash and trying to use up what I have before I buy more of anything. So I pulled out Sophisticated Sled because it had this robin here, it had these snowflakes, and then on Golden Greenery they had these small holly berries that I thought might work in these circles. So what I was going to do was going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at this and see how this might work for us. So I'm going to just grab a small block here, And again, this is the robin. It is a little bit bigger than my circle. So what I need to do is find my scratch paper, which I had here just a minute ago, but of course now is gone missing. So let me just grab another piece of paper here to use to stamp off on, because this is going to be bigger than my circle. And we're going to see if we like this. We may or may not like this. So it is a robin. I'm going to go ahead and grab Cherry Cobbler as my color here. And we're going to open that up. And we're just going to see how this looks. So I'm going to stamp off just to get an idea. Okay, and then we will stamp that in the circle. I think that works pretty good. Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay, so I don't think I'll do more than one of those. I think I'll do one of those, and then I'm just trying to clean that off a little bit before I put it back and get my fingers all messy. And then maybe we will grab the holly berries, and we will do the holly berries for the other one. So I'll grab this. And there's two holly berries. There's a solid and there is a outline. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the solid to start with, and maybe we'll do that in real red. I have made a request to get different stamp pads. One of the things I noticed when I was working with my group, this is only the second year I've done it with Stampin' Up! Products, and opening up these stamp pads really for people who are not well versed in stamping was not easy. I ended up having to open them. Okay, so I did 3 berries in the solid in the real red, and then I'm going to grab the outline, and I'm gonna test this out on the sample I did there. Can't really see it, but excuse me. We'll go ahead and give that a try, just to give it a little bit more depth and dimension. Oops, that one was a little bit off. There we go. Okay. And maybe we should add some greenery to that. I don't know if we have a small holly on this. I don't see a small holly leaf on this particular one. Do we have one there? Let me just see if I have one open over here. Just looking through my stash. Give me a sec. Okay, I think we've got these holly leaves right here. So let's see, what do we have? Okay, maybe we can just grab a little bit of this guy here. Sorry again. I was thinking I had everything out, but of course I didn't. I'm going to go ahead and go with Old Olive again. This is kind of my go-to color because I feel like it's the most green, correct green. I'm going to just do part of the stamp. I'm not going to color the whole thing because I don't want all of it. So I'm just getting a little bit on it and then placing it around. Okay, so I think that works. Okay, and then I think this next one, we're going to do something similar, but we're going to do this whole holly leaf here, like that. And then we're going to grab the small holly berries that are part of this one. It's something a little different. So take that one off. And like I said, this is really intended to be a simple card. If you don't want to do this step at all, you don't have to. So let's see, how do we want these to go? Like that, maybe? Perfect. Okay, so there we go. I think we're good. with these colors. So we're going to make the first card and then we'll do the second card because we're going to use a different color combination for the second card. So I'll put all these guys away. And I just got ink on my fingers. Make sure we don't have any extra ink. Okay. So we are going to assemble our cards. So I've already just got a standard 5.5 by 4 1/4 card base, just out of white. And then I've cut this, this is evergreen. I've cut this to 5 1/4 by 4. And we're going to just add our adhesive and add that to our card base. Again, trying to keep the reveal even. The white piece is 5 by 3 3/4. And again, we're going to just put this on top of that. And then we're going to build our circles on top of this and our sayings. So I only took 4 circles. You could do this with 3. You could do this with 5 circles, depending on the size of your card. So that's really up to you. 4 really kind of fit on this card base. If you made a bigger card, then I would say you could get 5 circles. And these circles are, my circles are just over 1.5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 eighths. 9 eighths, it looks like. But again, they came from the project that I did before, so they're not quite an equal size. So if you used one of, say, the Stylish Shapes circles to make these, you could do that too. And that would work just as well. Okay, so like I said, I had a bunch of different pieces that I was working with, so I just tried to grab the ones that I thought worked the best. You know what, I may switch this out for this one. I think I kind of like that one better. And essentially all we're going to do is we're going to layer these down. So this one I'm going to go ahead and come down towards the bottom and towards the left here. Then if you want, you can add some dimensionals to the next one to give it a little bit of pop. So we'll do that. We'll put 3 of those on. Like so. And then we're going to sort of come off to the side here, overlapping them. Like so. This is oriented, so I want to make sure that I have that oriented right. Then we're going to take our next circle and we're going to layer that one, sliding it underneath. And then our last circle is going to be this red one, and again we're going to pop that up with some dimensionals. So this is a super simple card, especially if you have leftover. I come over, where do I want to put that? Where do I like that? Maybe a little farther this way this time, like so. Okay, and then the 3 little circles that we cut, we're going to place around these. So again, I'm not going to pop these guys up. I'm going to just lay them flat. So I'm going to just add some adhesive, and we're going to tuck that one there. And that one there, and this one. That one there. And now we just need our saying. So that's where we're again going to just turn to our stickers that are part of this packet of ephemera. And we're just going to decide which one we like best. So I'm going to pop out this Merry Christmas because I think that might fit nicely there. And I don't feel like that's popping off of the popping off of the paper well enough. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see, do I want to back this? And I think if I put that on, that will make it pop more versus just laying it the white on white. So this sticker is just over 1.5 inches long, and it's less than 3/4 of an inch tall. So we're going to go ahead and do 3/4 of an inch here. And then this is just, so we'll do 1 3/4 inches this way. And that should give us a nice reveal around that piece. So we'll move these guys to the side. And let's just double check that we like that, and I think that will work. So these stickers, these are stickers. You could pop them up, but they are stickers. So all you have to do is there is a little bit of a line here where you can peel the adhesive off on both sides. And then you can put it on your card. So just trying to center that. And I could have made this fancier, I guess, versus just a square piece. But again, I'm trying to keep it simple, like I said. But I do think I want to pop this up. And so I need my pieces here. And if I really wanted to get fancy with this, there is gold on this. And there's gold on this one. I could add a gold border around this, just using a pen. Or I could back it with gold paper to give it another layer of interest. But that's it. That's the card, right? So very few supplies. If you had a stamp set, like if you had any of these stamp sets, you could certainly use any of the phrases that are part of these stamp sets as well, without having to get the ephemera pack. So again, taking a look at what you have and seeing what you can use to create some quick cards. So we're going to do one more, and that's this one here that has a much more kind of wintry, cool feeling. And we've got our 3 circles here. And my thought is I was going to just do these as snowflakes. So I've got a snowflake here, and I've got a snowflake on this one. And yes, this is how I craft, if you're curious. I am not a neat crafter. Things kind of go everywhere, and in fact, I sometimes lose track of where things are quite frequently on what I'm doing, and I've got a big mess that I usually am working with. So if you were curious about is this chaos the way that I create, the answer is yes, this is the way I create. All right, so these were close to my heart. Picture my life cards. So in this case, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use Wisteria as my color versus using any of my Stampin' Up! Colors. I don't have all of the Stampin' Up! Colors, and so I don't necessarily have a color that's going to match. So this one, I'm going to just take one of these snowflakes, and I'm going to just pop it right there in the center of that one. And then there was another set of snowflakes that was a little bit more, what I would say, a little bit more, we'll take this one off so that you guys can see that. It's a little bit different, giving it a little bit different feel. So we'll do that one. And then we might add another snowflake on there. Let's ink that guy up. Maybe add a snowflake there and there, just to fill it in a little bit more. There we go. Cool. All right, and then let's see. Do we want to do another color? Maybe we'll do no, brown doesn't really work. I'm just seeing if there's another icon I can use that might might fit this. Another little option. Okay, so here's a different snowflake. This is part of the Sweetest Star set, and there's a lot of it's just like a snowflake corner. And so we'll go and grab this guy, and we are going to just put that one little corner on a block, and we're going to ink this guy up. Trying to make sure I got enough ink there. And then we've got a third design. Okay, so I think those are all good options. Put these guys back so we don't lose track of who they belong to, which set they belong to. And again, this we stayed with one color instead of having multiple colors. So this one is part of that one, and this one's part of this one. Just trying to keep myself organized here, guys. Or at least somewhat organized. All right, so again, taking any stamp pad, taking any colors that you already have and using those. All right, so again, process is exactly the same. Just like so. I'm going to add this to the front. And then we'll take our white piece, like so, and decide how we want our ones to be laid out. I think I'm going to reverse that. Yeah, I think that's the way I like it. Okay, there are two sides to these. If you like the darker side, that's what I did here is I flipped this over to the darker side. So if there's a particular side you like better, like if you like that green versus the darker color, I felt like for these, for the matching of these, actually we said I want this popped up. Grab my pieces here. That guy up. And again, I could stick with this colorway. In fact, you know what? I think I might. I think I will do that. I think I'll make that change. Again, your card, you get to decide how you like it. And because I'm doing that because this flower is a lot darker than this flower, so even though it looks like it's like it's the same, it shows a little bit different, but keeps that consistency. So I like that better. And then we'll add in that last one. And then we've got our 3 snowflakes. So we can decide which way we like this. I think I like it like that better. Okay, so then put these down. Again, you could add bling to this as well if you wanted to add any sort of bling that you have. You could add a couple of pieces of bling for that. Okay, so then we're going to come back and we're going to see what we have. We've got Season's Greetings. 'Tis the Season. Just seeing if I see anything else. I've got a joy. We could do the circle and do joy. No, I don't think I like that. What else do we have here? 'Tis the season, 'tis the season, 'tis the season. Happy Christmas. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with 'tis the season. I think that one works really well. And again, I think we need a little bit. Let's see if this will be big enough. We need to pop this up. So this piece is just over 1 inch, just over ½ inch. So I think the size, the top of this is, the width of this is fine. So let's put this at, let's do 1.5. We can always cut it down if we don't like that. All right. So let's just eyeball this and see if we like it. Yep, I think that works. So again, this has a little bit of a place where you should be able to peel off the backing. I do like the fact that these are already adhesived. I like that. That's a benefit to these, for sure. Okay, like so. And again, we're going to just put some dimensionals on here to pop it up. Another idea is you could add ribbon to this as well. If you wanted to, if you had some spare ribbon, you could add some ribbon. Again, maybe let me just see what bling I have. I've got some silver. These are old, close to my heart silvers. And we could certainly put those on here as well to add a little bit of sparkle. And I've got a couple of different sizes here. Like so. And maybe a couple down here. Like that. Right, so again, you can take old bling that you have. I'm sure all of us have something in our stash that you can use. There's also a bunch of new stuff that you could pick from. Just seeing if I have anything handy that I'm not already using. I don't know if these are still available. These were antique pearls. Those would work. So again, just go through and see what you have. The whole idea behind this card in particular is to take stuff you have and to utilize it to create some quick cards. And not get too fancy, not be overly concerned. In fact, we're going to add some bling to this one. We're going to pull out the old gold dots. I'm hoping, I've requested these to be part of the Stampin' Up! Catalog. Just having just these basic dots. They have a lot of different bling, and I like a lot of it, but sometimes I just want some basic stuff, like these. Okay, we'll just leave that at that one. Okay, so again, it's using up your stash, using up what you have, and really trying to create something fun and different that doesn't take a lot of time. Again, the most of the time it took was the fact that I had to die cut out my circles. Everything else was just cutting a couple of pieces of paper and then adhering it down. So super simple, super easy card that you can easily recreate. And again, don't have to do the stamping if you don't want to. Just thought that that would be a nice addition. All right, so that's the card. I do want to say that I am going to be launching a membership on my YouTube channel, which is part of the reason you've seen my uptick in community posts. I'm going to be launching a membership on Thanksgiving, so that's Thursday. And the reason I'm doing it is not to make money or anything. It's just that I have a bunch of projects that I have been given, but I cannot show on a public YouTube page. They cannot be done on a public YouTube page. They can only be done in a private page, whether that's a private Facebook page or a private YouTube page. And so I really want to do some of these projects, and I really think some of them are great, fun projects to do, but I just cannot legally do them in this open forum. And so the only way that I can make this work is either to do them on Facebook, which I do not have a following on, or to do here on YouTube under a membership. And so I am creating a very inexpensive membership so that I can show those projects to you guys. The first project is going to be the ornament where these circles came from. That will be posted on Thanksgiving. And it is going to utilize the hoops, the large gold hoops, and is going to utilize the small circle shaker domes that was part of the Piggy set. And so these are two of the things that are going to be used. We're going to use memory and more cards. You can use Christmas paper for this, but it is a super cute ornament that you can add to your Christmas tree. You can give it away as a gift to your hairdresser or to, you know, anyone who's in your life that you want to give a little bit of something to. This is a perfect project for that, and it's very straightforward to make. I will have a Cricut file for you to use as well. And so that is coming, and that is the first project that will be done in my new membership. All right, so hopefully you got some inspiration how to pull out some old stamp sets that you might have, inspiration to utilize some scraps, or to take some things that maybe you had left over and take those scraps and turn them into something else. And then, like I said, I had these cards that were all inspired by other people out there on the internet land, and hopefully some of these also gave you some inspiration today. Until the next time we have a video, thank you so much for joining me, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. I'll be happy to answer them, and I'm looking forward to the membership and starting to bring some of these great projects to you from other people where they have done some great creating. And have a happy Thanksgiving. All right, everyone. Bye-bye.